Welcome everyone this morning. Can you hear me now? Okay, I think you can. My name is Andrew Woodward. I'm a registered dietitian. Currently, I spend my hours working at the Loma Cancer Center, and I love the interaction with these patients because they're very eager to learn. So I hope that you're eager to learn this morning. I have a lot of information to share. I could prepare it a lot of different ways. There's a lot of biochemistry involved when I look at foods that have health benefits. And I'm going to kind of distill it down to some plain English. And at the end, I think we'll have a few minutes for questions in case something I said is new to you or you need some clarification. So our topic today is to juice or not to juice. So we've got a lot of things to cover. Many people do not eat healthy. We have tremendous opportunity, lots of fruits and vegetables. We live in Southern California. We enjoy wonderful weather. We can do gardening. We can go to our neighborhood grocery store and purchase healthy, conventionally grown vegetables and fruits. Or if you prefer, organically grown. We have that available. I'll give you some options to consider a little bit later on. The goal is to get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables today. That's been suggested by many health organizations, but do we get those 5 to 9 servings? The standard American diet, I like to abbreviate it SAD, is high in animal foods, fats, processed foods, and carbs and sugars. And so the standard American body type shows what we eat in our diet. It tends to be a little bit on the heavy side, okay? And trust me, I've worked many, many years in weight management, and I know the ordeal, how difficult it is to lose weight. It's been said by Benjamin Franklin that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when you're looking at attaining and maintaining a healthy diet, I believe nutrition plays a core role. Juicing provides a creative and invigorating way to add more vegetables, fruit, and phytonutrients in a healthy diet. If you don't know the word phytonutrients, we'll get to that in just a second. Smoothies provides another creative alternative to add those fruits, vegetables, and phytochemicals. They are very similar in most aspects, and I'll talk about some benefits of juicing and some benefits of smoothies. Oh, by the way, let me go back here. This is one that I kind of created, and I'm hesitant to use the word creating a recipe because when it comes to juicing and smoothies, there's so many different variations of the same theme. Some of you that are juicers and do smoothies, you know what I'm talking about. How many in this room do you do juicing now? Okay, a couple dozen. How many do smoothies? How many haven't really begun that yet? You're on the fence, you're contemplating. But when you contemplate juicing or smoothing, it's like, where do I start? What kind of machine do I want to get? And we're going to talk about some of those issues in a few minutes. Juicing has a large appeal. I believe that the word juicing has kind of a media marketing, kind of a buzzword. So it's very popular. We hear about weight loss with juice fasts. We hear about detoxing and juice cleanses, don't we? And it sounds very appealing. We hear about raw food and the paleo diet, okay? Gerson diet. I talk to people about Gerson diet and juicing and other so-called cancer cures. We hear about when you juice, you're supposed to drink it within 15 minutes so you preserve the live enzymes. There's a lot of mystique and marketing. This movie came out. I haven't seen it yet. I tried to see it on YouTube, but I didn't want to pay 99 cents and use my credit card, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, I'll see it. This has made a little bit of a wave in terms of the desire and the phenomenon of juicing. There's a lot of people on YouTube that are eager to do this. I believe in a simplistic sense that 90% of the benefits of detox and cancer cures and all that good, healthy eating comes from eating less of the junk, putting less of it in our body in the first place, and then getting more vegetables. Fruits are also healthy, but for a lot of people, the vegetables is a key because they're so low in calories, right? And they're loaded with cancer-fighting, heart-healthy, health-enhancing phytonutrients. So let's talk about some of the things you'll hear on the news, some of the buzzwords and claims. Will pureed asparagus cure cancer? Will juicing provide necessary live enzymes that our body requires? The simple answer to those is no. Is juicing or doing smoothies a good idea? And that is an absolutely yes answer. As part of a healthy diet, both juicing and smoothing provide extra vegetables, fruits, phytochemicals for health benefits. The amount that you drink, the kind you make, and how often you drink it will depend on your individual preferences and your health conditions. So you can do it once a week, you can do it 7 days a week, you can do it a lot of different times. Beware of a lot of unrealistic claims. For people that are doing juice fast or detox or whatever, if they lose weight while they're on a 1 month or 30-day juice fast, that's a good start. And I think that could be useful for that initial kickstart to get that motivation going. But then what happens after those 30 days? Do you go back to the way you ate before? If that's the case, the odds of you keeping the weight off are very small. So I'm going to give you some practical ideas that I think will help you start into what I think is a good healthy habit and continue on, because it's simple, it's fun, and there's a word I want to share a couple times with you. When you were young, did your mother say to you, don't play with your food? Just sit down and eat. You can't laugh. Don't play with your food. Okay? My mother was the same way. For me, now I'm an adult. I'm giving myself permission, I think my mother would approve, to play with your food. Experiment with recipes. Make a lot of different things. Add a lot of seasonings. Make it tasty. Make it look colorful. Make it appealing and have fun. So my bottom line is play with your food. Are you okay with that? Okay. Let's talk about the word phytochemicals, okay? Phyto means plant in Greek. So that long, complicated term simply means plant chemicals, of which there's probably 2,000 of them. And the phytochemicals are very important because that's how you know an apple is different from an orange. That's how you know you can eat garlic, but turnips and rutabaga you may not want to eat because it's a combination of flavor, color that's not really up your alley. Studies show that phytochemicals have potential to do enormous health benefits. And this is just a short slide from the American Institute of Cancer Research, AICR. And what I like about this website, it's aicr.gov. They give you recipes. They give you ideas for smoothies. They even give you a video on how to prepare garlic to preserve the health-enhancing benefits. I bet you haven't thought about that before. So what phytochemicals do is they stimulate the immune system. They block substances in food from preventing carcinogens or cancer-causing substances. They reduce inflammation that can predispose to cancer. They help prevent DNA damage. You've heard about antioxidants. That's a popular buzzword. Well, let me tell you a couple things about antioxidants. Antioxidants are useful tools. But if you're going to work on a job, do some home repair, you want to have a toolbox of screwdrivers, some hammers, some saws, a variety of different tools. Think of antioxidants as tools. If you get all your antioxidants in vitamin C, that may be useful, but that's like doing a job with a hammer only. The body needs vitamin C, vitamin E, alpha-lipoic acid, glutathione, hundreds of different antioxidants. And how do you get different antioxidants and different phytochemicals? You get them from a variety of plant foods. It's not that complicated. So phytochemicals have been shown to slow or stop the growth of cancer. That's something I see every day in my job. They trigger the damaged cells to die. It's a process called apoptosis. And the phytochemicals help regulate hormones. The bottom line, phytochemicals provide a dual function of selectively harming only cancer cells. They supply the nutrients to enrich healthy cells and our immune system. Okay, so Last year, I was fortunate to go to Seattle, and I went to one of America's oldest markets. It's called Pike's Market. Have you been there? It's fabulous. So I like to travel, and I like photography. So virtually all these slides you see today are my photographs. And so I take a lot of pride, and I kind of really scientifically look at what's the best way to get colorful fruits and vegetables. So let's talk about juicing. Juicing provides a thinner drink. It's easier to drink. The nutrients tend to be absorbed more quickly because the digestive tract doesn't have to do as much work to get through the fiber and so on. So for some people, it may help with resting the digestive tract, the gastrointestinal tract. Juicing works well with many green vegetables, your spinach, your kale, your beet greens, your collard greens. When you do juicing, you add the entire food, and you let the machine do the work, right? So you add in your pineapple, you add in your parsley, you add in your bananas, whatever, and the machine does the job. And it discards the pulp. And keep in mind, the pulp is where you get the majority of the fiber. With juicing, the machine does the work, but someone has to clean up. Okay? So there's more cleanup with juicing. There's a lot of mystique. There's more mystique with juicing, juice fasts, and again, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead kind of brought it to prominence about a year or two ago. With smoothies, you get a thicker beverage. It's more substantial, and the fiber really tends to stay with you. It enhances satiety. The green smoothies generally have more fruit than they do with juices. So you might have a few more calories due to a few more calories from fruit. And so the person making the smoothie needs to cut off the skins and discard the seeds. So the machine just blends it, whips it up, purifies it, if you will, or purees it, I should say, not purify it. And then it extracts the juice, and it includes the pulp. Okay? So there's less cleanup. And you flavor the juices with some sweet ingredients. Maybe it's more fruit, maybe it's some other additives. We'll get into some useful additives and sweeteners in a few minutes. And so the sweeter flavors of smoothies may appeal to novices. Okay? I joke around with some of my patients. I say, you know, when you add spinach or kale or kind of a green vegetable to your smoothie or to your juices, it may look like pond scum. And for someone that hasn't tasted it, it's a little bit scary. But I say, even though it looks like pond scum, it doesn't have to taste like pond scum. And that's why you have some sweeteners, some additives that really make it go down very nice. Both juicing and smoothies are great ways to enhance the quality of your diet. So some people ask me, which is better, juicing? Which is better, smoothies? Juices may be a better way to get your greens. You're not expecting a lot of those juices to be sweet. You just get them down, they look green, and they have a tremendous amount of benefits. Smoothies may be easier to make and less expensive to buy a great volume of fruits, vegetables. And the smoothies have more fiber. Juicing is a good buzzword and has more media attention. Greens add liquid vitality. That's the chlorophyll. You've heard about the wheatgrass juice. Anybody tasted the wheatgrass juice? Any connoisseurs of wheatgrass juice? Some hands went down. No surprise, it's a bitter tasting. Sometimes you hold your nose and you drink an ounce or two, a shot, and you're good. Okay? Fruit smoothies, you have to be a little bit careful for. You know, you add the bananas, you add the berries, you add your pineapple, and you've got a lot of fruit, you've got a lot of carbs, you've got a lot of calories. And so for some people, the smoothies and sometimes the fruit juices, not the vegetable juices, but the fruit juices, you know what I'm talking about? They're so high in calories, they're something like liquefied desserts. Yes, they're healthier than a bowl of ice cream, but if you're watching your calories, then that might be something you want to use sparingly. Okay? So both of those are useful. It just depends on what your goals are and what your personal style is. So with green juices or green smoothies, there's a couple little things I threw in there to make you think. If it's a little bit bitter, what can you do to smooth it out? Cucumber, celery, carrots. Carrots are a useful base for just about all juices or just about all smoothies. But again, it's optional. One day use carrots, another day use something else. Some of the nut milks, if you use some nuts, and by the way, if you're going to use almonds or cashews, sometimes it's easier to soak them for a couple hours to kind of get them loosen up a little bit, get softer, and then the blades in the machine doesn't have to do so much work, and then you don't get the chunks in your final product. When you want to go for a little bit more sweetness, again, add carrots, ginger, beets are a good one to use, or other fruit. By the way, this morning I made a smoothie, and ginger was my sweetener, and it was fantastic. I used about a thumb-sized piece of crystallized ginger. If you don't know what crystallized ginger is, it's also known as candied ginger. And the piece I had was about 20 calories. Okay, so let's talk about people that are here. You're not convinced juicing is what you want. You're not sure if you want to do smoothies. So let's talk about where you start. You want the machine to do the work for you, right? So you buy a machine that fits your needs, juicing or smoothies, and that hopefully fits your budget. How much can some of those machines run you? They can range from a simple blender that sits on your counter that might be $40 up to $600 and more. Okay, so that's something you want to think about before you plunk down your hard-earned money. So ask yourself, do you prefer smooth juices, nice and clean and smooth, thin juices, or do you prefer thicker smoothies or chunky smoothies? My wife and I have a little bit of a discussion about this. I put it in my blender. I happen to use a NutriBullet. I put it in longer because I like a smoothie, but I like to be really smooth. She puts it in for about 10 seconds. And so it's chunky. And she likes a chunky smoothie. I've heard them called roughies. Smoothies and roughies? Okay. So depending on what you like, you buy the machine and you prepare it as you like. So read the reviews on different machines before you buy. Talk to people. Listen to speakers. Get the information, because it's disappointing to me when people have a very expensive machine and they don't use it, or maybe they have never used it. You don't have to raise your hand on that one, okay? So buy a machine that's going to work. It's going to match your personality. A premium machine will not help you if it stays on the shelf. Begin with simple recipes and then improvise. Did I tell you I give you permission to play with your food? Improvise, modify. So for some recipe ideas, these are two useful websites, mdanderson.org. MD Anderson is a cancer center in Texas, and they've got wonderful ideas on juicing. MD Anderson for juicing. They've got your top foods. They've got ways to sweeten it. They've got a lot of recipes. And American Institute for Cancer Research.org, I already mentioned that one before. A lot of useful information. Be creative with your concoctions. I work with a nurse at Loma, and she does so many crazy things with all these things she gets out of her yard. It's like, are you kidding me? You put this in there? And so I wouldn't call them juices or smoothies. I'd call them concoctions. And you know, I'm pretty open-minded, and so I'll taste her concoctions with garlic. Yes, with garlic. And you know, it's not too bad. The garlic taste is there. It's got a little bit of a bite, but she adds enough beets or carrots or something else to kind of smooth it over. How do you know when to use garlic or not? It might be a learned process. When you're starting off with this stuff from square one, it's easier to follow a recipe. And then as you gain more experience and confidence, then you can add a little garlic or add a little bit of turmeric or add some different things. Parsley is another strong one. Start off really slow with parsley. And be prepared, it will look like pond scum. But it doesn't have to taste that way, right? So be creative with seasonings, liquids, protein. That's one thing I like about smoothies, very adaptable. Put in your protein powder. Decide if you want the extra calories. For example, if you want to add extra calories, go for more bananas, go for avocado. Have you done avocado? That works really good in a smoothie. But you may not want the extra 400 calories. I don't know why. Start with mostly organic. But if you buy conventionally grown stuff at the store, that will work also. And I'm going to give you some workarounds. Conventional produce, that's the regular stuff you buy at Vons, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, whatever, is more affordable and is a good place to start with the Clean 15. Do you know what the Clean 15 is? It's my next slide. You'll see it. Okay. Your garden can be a hobby and produce many ingredients for your drink. So again, because we live in sunny Southern California, do gardening. And not only is it kind of fun to kind of get in with the dirt, but you can add a lot of fun things to your smoothies or your drink. The organic choices is useful. It does reduce risk for environmental contaminants, pesticides, hormone disruptors, cadmium, lead, etc. And also, the organic produce does eliminate genetically modified organisms. So if you're concerned about pesticides, if you're concerned about GM stuff, organic is a good way to go. But you do pay more, and the selection is limited. And so when you look at the Environmental Working Group, they put together 2 useful lists. And I've given you a copy of it here. The Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 come from the same list. They're at opposite sides of the spectrum. The Clean 15 is the top 15 fruits and vegetables that have the lowest exposure to pesticides, hence the name Clean 15. The Dirty Dozen is on the other end. It's the 12 fruits and vegetables that have been shown to have higher association with pesticides. So my suggestion to you is if you look at this list here, Clean 15, I think you're relatively safe. Now, that's opinion, depends on who you talk to. But the Clean 15, go buy conventional. Maybe it's not critical that you spend a little bit more money. On the Dirty Dozen, it's probably more important that you buy organic. So you can decide. If you'd use just a little teeny tiny bit, then it's probably not a problem if it comes from that list. But if you use those fruits and vegetables, if you like strawberries in everything, then it's probably a better idea that you get organic strawberries, okay? So for extra liquid, this is where with juices, the vegetables, the fruit provide the liquid that you drink. And so you're going to be getting more produce to get enough volume, to get enough liquid. And remember, you're discarding the pulp. Some people prefer that, but when you're doing a smoothie or you want to add more liquid to your juicing, add pure water. Alkaline water is also popular. Green tea, yogurt for the probiotics, right? Probiotics, beneficial bacteria that nourish your gut, that help with your immune system, that help with digestion, etc. Soy milk can be a good choice, or other milks. How many different types are there? Hemp milk, soy milk, coconut milk, almond milk. So choose what you like. There's commercial nutrition drinks, Boost, Ensure, Orgain, for someone that wants to get more calories, more nutrition, vitamin, mineral, fortified. Those drinks can be the base of your liquids. Coconut water, if you want more potassium, one container, maybe about 10 to 12 ounces of coconut water has more potassium than a banana has. So it can be very useful, and it gives you a nice little pleasant sweetness to it. Keep it clean. I'm going to pause here. What does that mean, keep it clean? It's very important, very critical. Wash your produce in warm, soapy water to get the bugs off, to get the dirt off. And it does help lower the exposure to pesticides as well. So use clean produce. Make sure it hasn't been sitting in your refrigerator for weeks and it's starting to get really soggy and smelly. Not a good idea. So keep it clean, keep it sanitary, and keep your machine clean. If you know yourself well and you say, I like the idea of juicing, but I don't see myself disassembling this, reading the instructions. My wife says reading instructions is for losers. Well, maybe she wouldn't admit to that right now, but sometimes you don't want to bother reading it. You don't want to disassemble it. And sometimes juicers require that, and you have to keep it clean, keep it disinfected. What I like about the Ninja or the NutriBullet, there's 2 parts. I put my stuff in it, I blend it up, I disassemble it, rinse it off with hot water, I let it drain dry. Every couple days, I run it through the cycle in the dishwasher. I know myself. If I have to do a lot of extra work, I'll do it, but I probably won't do it every morning on my way before work. I'll do it later when I have more time. And that means later is the next day. No, it's the next week, and so on and so forth. So Dr. Oz, I like some of the things he has to say. I think his TV show over the last few years has gotten a little bit thin and watered down. I'll just leave it at that. But he came up with an idea that's called the Dr. Oz Produce Rinse. And I've got it in my presentation towards the end, so I'll leave it on that as we do question and answer. Hopefully we'll have enough time. And he says that if you use the Dr. Oz Produce Rinse, it reduces pesticide exposure by 95%. So you buy the conventional stuff, you buy the strawberries that are more affordable and look pretty good. You use the Dr. Oz Produce Rinse, you sit there for 5 to 10 minutes, rinse it off, and it's almost as good as conventional. Organic, sorry. Okay, so sweeteners. We want something that tastes good. So here's my short list of approved sweeteners. You can add fruit. Fruit by itself may give you enough sweetness. In fact, for beginners, you may need more fruit, you may need more sweeteners, especially if you're selling this to your husband. Selling this, trying to positively influence them. If you want your kids or your grandkids, it has to taste good, right? So that's why fruit can be good. People that are more experienced may need less fruit, okay? But use a little bit of honey, use a little bit of blue agave nectar. Stevia can be good. You can get liquid, add a couple drops. You could add powdered stevia. Stevia comes from Ecuadorian sweetleaf from South America. Monk fruit, maybe you haven't heard of monk fruit, but you will. It comes from China, and it comes originally from monasteries where the monks would use it as their sweetener because they couldn't run down the street and get it at Vaughn's. They're in China. And those monasteries, they tend to be pretty secluded. So monk fruit may be useful. Both stevia and monk fruit are totally natural. They're not processed in any way. Dates. I had some dates sitting in my cupboard, and they're so sweet and loaded with calories. And it's like, I don't want to use them right now. But I thought, well, you know what? Why not make sure I take out the pit? That's important. And then use the date as your sweetener. It worked out like a charm, worked out really well. And others to use, I read an article recently in the paper about the new sweetener, coconut sugar. What about sugar cane? What about sugar beets? They both come from plants, coconut sugar. It might be less processed than regular sugar, but it's almost the same. So don't get all your hopes up. Brown sugar, regular sugar, sugar alcohols, or artificial sweeteners. If you have to use those, use them in small amounts. Okay, so what about a shortcut? Maybe you don't want to buy the machine. Maybe you don't want to go through the steps I've outlined so far. Try out vegetable juices made fresh. Go to a store that makes them for you. It might be a little more expensive when you compare ounce per ounce than doing it at home, but they do the cleanup. You don't. So the shortcut can mean go to a juice bar like Juice It Up, okay, Jamba Juice. I work in Loma Linda. The market has a Blue Zone juice. And if you come down and see me at the end, I've got 40 certificates for $1 off at the Loma Linda Blue Zone juice bar. You can go to Clark's Nutrition. There's a Clark's in Loma Linda. There's a Clark's in Riverside. You can go to Goodwin's. There's a Goodwin's in Riverside. And, I've had them cook up some really interesting concoctions. Prepare, okay? So when they make it for you, it saves your time and it saves your money before you spend $700 on a really fancy machine. And that way you can kind of decide, well, I like this, I don't like this. I know how I'm going to proceed. So purchase pre-made juice from a market. They can be useful. Some people, the purists might say, but it's been processed. It's lost some of the plant enzymes. And that is valid, but those juices are very simple. There's a variety of those juices. And by the way, earlier I mentioned the live plant enzymes. I have really looked at all the credible scientific websites for the benefits for humans for live enzymes. Because when you look at juicing, they're going to come over and say you need to drink it within 15 minutes to benefit from live enzymes. The live enzymes are critically important for the plants, but for us humans that consume the juices, those are basically fancy proteins. And you know what our body does to protein? In the presence of the strong hydrochloric acid in our stomach, it breaks it down. It basically destroys those live enzymes. So they're just taken into our body as a fancy form of protein. So I don't believe you have to worry about the loss of the live enzymes, because the slide I showed a little while ago on phytochemicals, that's what you get in your fruits and your vegetables. So the pre-made juices, you can go to Trader Joe's even, or at Clark's, or at Sprouts, and get the green juice drink. It's got vegetables in it, it's got parsley, broccoli in it, it's got some fruits to make it taste good, and it comes in a container, and you don't have to rush through drinking it. You can have it a little bit over a few days. Vegetable juices can be very good if you're concerned about the sodium content. Find one that's lower in sodium. Okay? If you don't like the idea of buying a pre-bought jar of juice at the store, make your own or go to the juice bars and try them out. The pre-made juices are also flash pasteurized to reduce bacteria, and that will keep it safe for several days. And for some patients that have a low immune system, it's safer for them. They can drink juices rather than worrying about the sanitation at home. Okay, so I want to present to you a few fruits and vegetables that I call superstars, okay? And there are literally hundreds of them, so I'm going to talk about blueberries, carrots, and kale and spinach. So blueberries, real quickly here, low sugar, low carb, low sugar, fruit with awesome color. Don't blueberries give your smoothie or juice an awesome color? It really does. In fact, when you sneak in spinach, for people that are not suspecting, you don't even see or taste the spinach. That's a good plan. It's a good strategy. What makes blueberries blue is something called anthocyanins. That's an example of those hundreds and thousands of phytochemicals that provides the colors, the antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory benefits. Blueberries reduce the risk of cognitive decline and possibly UTIs, urinary tract infections. But let me expand on that for just a second. This morning I used cranberries and cherries in my smoothie. I didn't use blueberries because I was ready for a change of pace, okay? And when you look at blueberries and cranberries, they are similar in the berry family in that they both can help reduce urinary tract infection. Cranberries have more research, more supportive background, but blueberries may be also very helpful, okay? Pterostilbene is another phytochemical found unique to blueberries, and the anthocyanins for the color, they have some unique anti-cancer benefits. So one of my recipes, I don't know if you got a copy of it. Oh, it's at the Cancer Center booth. That's here?
Yeah, downstairs in the exhibit hall.
Okay, so I'll give a little bit of a sales pitch on that. Loma has a Cancer Center booth. And so for a couple of my recipes, this is one of them. You go there and you only have to pay, no, I think it's free. Okay, but you have to go down there or send somebody to get it for you. And with this berry smoothie, like I said earlier, you can sneak in spinach. Isn't that great? You could sneak in kale, but kale is a little bit stronger. And it's also very easy to modify. You could add the whey protein, cinnamon. Cinnamon is fantastic in juices and smoothies. Ground cloves makes it taste more sophisticated, like it's a gourmet smoothie. You can add mint, green tea. You can add liquid green tea if you brewed it, or what I did this morning, since sometimes I cut corners. I didn't say lazy, so don't misinterpret this. I cut corners, so I added loose leaf green tea. Normally you take a pinch of it, you add it to your hot water, and you steep it for 3 to 8 minutes or whatever. I just added plain old water and threw in 2 pinches of green tea, and voila, I'm good to go. Other flavors you can add. So the berries, because of the color and the strong flavor that's sweet, you can hide a lot of different stuff. Carrots are wonderful for their bold color and their sweet flavor. The beta-carotene and other carotenoids are yellow-orange pigments and even red plant pigments found in fruits and vegetables. Those contribute more antioxidant benefits. And the carrots give you a boatload of benefits for skin, eyes, and the immune system. So one thing about juicing and smoothie is that when you drink that, you kind of feel virtuous. Can I say that? It's a reward in and of itself. You feel like, I'm doing something good for my body. I'm honoring my body by eating healthy food. And when you have something that's this golden orange color, it's very striking, okay? And the other recipe that I think I have is the mango, carrot, cucumber smoothie, and that's also free at the Loma Cancer Center. So carrots do have some unique cancer-fighting and phytochemicals. Falcarinol is one of them, and the carotenoids, they do have some cancer-fighting benefits. And here we go with the kale and the spinach, okay? Maybe spinach for the beginners, kale for the pros, okay? Use spinach for a milder flavor and kale for more of a kick. Both of them give you that really strong, rich green color. So if you're going for green juicing or green smoothies, this is going to be one of your starts. The beta-carotene and other carotenoids contribute antioxidant benefits. Even though they're not orange like the carrots, they're also there in the dark greens. Excellent benefits for skin and eyes. The lutein in those dark greens is really good to slow or stop the growth of macular degeneration, a cause of blindness in older adults. Excellent sources of vitamin K. And this is where people say it always has to be raw, but that's not always correct. When juicing, you're going to save and preserve a lot of the B vitamins as well as vitamin K. But vitamin K is still there even when you cook the spinach or you cook the kale. And let me just add this right now for a little balance. I'm not saying you have to juice all your vegetables. So if you prefer your kale to be cooked, or you want to make kale chips in the oven, or if you want to do something with spinach, it's a lot easier to add onions and garlic when you cook the spinach than if it's raw. Okay? So looking at balance, if you like some cooked, eat some cooked. If you like some juiced or raw in salads, then eat it that way too. Add variety. Okay? There's something called glucosinolates in kale. And kale is in the family of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, tremendous, well-documented cancer-fighting benefits, more carotenoids, and those have anti-cancer benefits. So I thought I'd add this one because of all the hoopla about fat, sick, and nearly dead. This is one of the core juices. So here's your recipe here. I don't have this one pre-made. So 6 leaves of kale, 4 stalks of celery, 1 whole cucumber, a lot of water there, 2 medium green apples, stays with the green theme color, but also adds sweetness, half a lemon, a thumb-sized piece of ginger. You juice it and you enjoy, okay? So that's another variation. Okay, so here's some additives, and I'm going to go through this fairly quickly so I allow time for questions. Add these foods and seasonings to increase the nutritional value, but also to make it taste good. If it doesn't taste good, you're less likely to continue to do it, okay? So avocado I mentioned earlier. Cinnamon is wonderful for people that want a little bit extra help for blood sugar control. Cinnamon is documented to help with diabetes. Chia seeds are fun. Add them to your smoothie, and they do absorb water. So if you're looking at something that may help fill you up, Chia seeds will do that. They absorb up to 20 times their weight in water. Cocoa powder, for those of you that like a little bit of chocolate, sometimes chocolate goes well with your berries, okay? Flax seeds are similar to chia seeds, and both of these add omega-3 fats that help reduce inflammation. So chia seeds are very good to add into your smoothie because my smoothie, the blades chop up the flax seeds, and the absorption of flaxseed is better when they're chopped up. Because if they're whole flax seeds, they just kind of go through your system. They add some fiber, but you don't get some of the benefits of the whole of the chopped up flax seeds. So those are very good. Ginger is fantastic. Hibiscus. I have hibiscus plants in the backyard, but I've also gone to Cardenas market, and you can get the dried hibiscus flowers. You can add a pinch or two in your smoothie for a little bit of a mild, almost a cranberry-like flavor. But it also adds that wonderful reddish color, if you want to add that too. Spirulina adds a dark green color, very concentrated, very dark, so be prepared. It may look like pond scum, but it adds some protein and some useful nutrients. Spirulina tends to be expensive, so I'm going to kind of skip through some of these pretty quickly. Sweeteners, I already talked about sweeteners. Wheatgrass, because it is a strong, bitter flavor, you're going to need something to counter that, or are you just going to drink it straight up? Your choice, okay? But a lot of people attribute tremendous health benefits to wheatgrass. And again, I've looked at PubMed, I've looked at Cochrane literature reviews, I've looked at a lot of reviews that are really bona fide scientists. They're not just the run-of-the-mill internet websites, which can say anything they want, right? So wheatgrass adds a green color from chlorophyll, and it has a strong, bitter, grass-like flavor. It's claimed to neutralize toxins, improve digestion, oxygenate the body, and increase energy. Sounds good, but those are not supported by clinical studies. They may do a little bit of that, but I wouldn't put a lot of faith in wheatgrass juice by itself. Use it, yes, but use your spinach, use your kale, use all your vegetables, use all your fruits. Play with your food, modify it as needed, and continue to do it. And these are the more exotic ones. I'm going to skip over these, but you may hear about acai. And you know what? Acai may have more antioxidants than blueberries. It may have 10% more, just for throwing out a number. 10% more antioxidants, but it may cost you 300% more. Is it worth it? In my bank, no. So if I look at acai and I'm at Clark's or I'm at Sprouts, I may use it if it's on sale. If it's not on sale, I'll stick to my berries, my cherries, my cranberries, whatever. There's something called the amalaki fruit, very, very high in vitamin C, probably the highest dietary source. Not available in your typical market, but you might get it in a powder. Camu powder, again, vitamin C, you might find it in a powder. Moringa. I bought that. I tried it out. It gives you a little bit of the green color and taste like spinach. Don't use too much, okay? But I want you to feel like you're having fun. So that's why when I thought about different things, different additives, I thought, well, I don't want people to misinterpret these additives as in undesirable food additives. You know, you read the label and it's like, all these additives, I'm not going to bother with it. These are additives you can have fun with. They add quality and nutritional value, so you can embellish them. That's my point, okay? Now here's a few other exotic ones. Have you ever had a smoothie or juice with cayenne pepper? Anybody? What do you think? Thumbs up or 2 thumbs up? I was at a juice bar and I said, okay, it's an additive. I haven't tried it. I got to give it a whirl. And I said, well, how much of the cayenne pepper do you add to the smoothies? We don't add it. You do. How's that for a cop-out? So, you know, apparently if they add it, it might be too hot for some people. So I added a little bit, and it's like, okay, adds a little bit of a bite. It's not bad, but I don't know if I would do it on a regular basis. You could do that. Some people say that the pepper, the capsaicin, increases your metabolism, but probably only short term. It does have some antioxidant, anti-inflammatory benefits. Mint, nuts, turmeric. I did turmeric before. Not something I would do on a regular basis, but you can have fun, experiment. So when you're trying something new, maybe you heard me talk about it today, or maybe someone's sharing that it's really good, consider the costs of that additive. Consider your individual sensitivities, and then sample it in small amounts. Because, if you add too much at first, it's really hard to take it out of your juice or take it out of your smoothies. Okay, so other tips. When your greens are starting to look a little bit wilted, you can throw them out. Most people do that, but you can cook them. Because when you cook them, you're going to destroy the bacteria, and you kind of give it a second life. So that's something you might want to consider. Frozen vegetables, frozen fruit. Very, very useful and practical. You don't have to rinse, cut. You just open up a bag, dump it in. Blueberries. Maintains the healthy anthocyanins for at least 6 months. Now, if you keep it in your freezer for more than 6 months, you don't know how much freezer burn and how much ice buildup you're going to have. So you don't want to use them and keep them in there forever. But it does save time, and it can save costs too. So use a variety of flavors to get the flavor you want, and avoid getting burned out. Sometimes if you have to do a lot of work and do a lot of thinking, it's just too much work. You're not going to do it for the morning. So have fun and play with your food. People ask me the best diet, and again, I want to say this, that if you have a poor diet and you do a lot of fast food and a lot of processed foods, and you add a juice, a wonderfully healthy juice, or a wonderfully healthy smoothie, that doesn't improve your overall diet to be excellent. You want to have a healthy diet, and then add the juicing or add the smoothies on top of that. So a couple of things about what I've learned about juicing. I think I've already summarized that for the most part. So let me just start to wrap this up. The goal is to get 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. I don't know how many people do that. I teach a class at a community college, and I'd say 90% of my students do not get 5 to 9. In fact, most of them are not even close. So this can be a way to add those. For many people, making a fresh juice or a smoothie in the morning is a convenient way. They look forward to doing that, to starting their day, to help meet those goals. Some people prefer a juice than to cook it, so it gives you some variety. Drinking the nutrition makes it easier for those who have trouble chewing or swallowing, so that's another advantage. If you consistently get 5 to 9 servings of vegetables and fruit each day, maybe you don't need to do juicing. Keep eating healthy, okay? So when you do your juicing, when you do your smoothies, focus on the colorful vegetables and the greens. That's where the typical American diet falls short. Add just enough fruit for color and flavor. Does that make sense? Better to eat the whole fruit than to juice it. So many people are drinking fruit juice this, fruit juice that, cranberry juice that. You have to factor in those extra calories and also the loss of fiber. Try before you buy. So if you come down at the end, I'll give you a discount coupon. Try a Jamba Juice. Try a smoothie. Go to Goodwin's. Go to some place and try a juice with beets and see how you like that. Embellish the natural additives. Have realistic expectations. Don't expect miracle cures or detox if your overall quality of your diet is crappy. I was going to say poor, but we're at the end here, okay? So if your overall diet is poor, don't expect juicing or smoothies by itself to bring it up. Have fun and be creative. So this is the ingredients for Dr. Oz's produce rinse. I'll come back to a second, but let me just pause for any questions. Okay, there you go. All right. So thank you for your undivided attention. I hope you learned a thing or two.
Why use whey protein and not in one of your smoothies?
The question is, why do I prefer whey over
Plant
Plant-based. I like them both. If a person is relatively healthy, they can do plant-based, and I might say that. But for a lot of my cancer patients that are already under physical stress, or for athletes that want really kind of quicker gains, then whey does that a little bit more quickly. But if you get soy protein, pea protein, hemp protein is good. But I've tried with all of those, and I would have to say whey protein dissolves really nicely. Hemp protein, not so good. Other questions? Yes?
Nutritionally, what is better, the chunky versus the smooth? When you're, blenderizing it, not juicing it.
When you're blenderizing your fruits and vegetables, which is better nutritionally, chunky or the smooth? It's really a personal preference. They're both useful. But I suppose if you're looking at more satiety, if you kind of chew on your smoothie, it gives you more of the psychological sensation that you've eaten a meal, or it's going to be more lasting. Yes, question? Is there a benefit to alkaline water? Well, it depends on who you talk to, but short answer, not really. Some people say alkaline water helps to oxygenate the tissues more rapidly. The alkaline water helps to fight cancer and to reduce inflammation. I think that's a bit overstated. And the truth of the matter is, what you put in your body will convert the pH, so that when you talk about the pH of your blood, because it has to be digested first, then it has to go into your blood. And is it going to change the pH of your blood that goes to every cell? No, it doesn't, because your body works hard to keep your pH at 7.35 to 7.45, and it keeps it in that very narrow range. And so drinking alkaline water sounds good, but it really doesn't change the pH of the blood.
What about using the pulp after you've juiced?
When you're doing juicing, the pulp that's been extracted and removed, use that. I was going to say that earlier. Use it for muffins. Add a little bit of it to soups. So you can recycle some of that pulp that's been lost.
Any other ways to get the fiber benefit in the juice by adding anything in particular?
Well, that opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. People take gummy fibers and psyllium seed. But you know, eating other sources of plant-based foods, beans and nuts and whole grains, are going to be a good way to keep that fiber in your overall diet. Question? Goji berries, I didn't mention them as my additives. If you find those to be affordable and you want to use goji berries, by all means. They're up there in the very high stratosphere for antioxidant value. They also tend to be more expensive, and they're not quite as sweet. So I would say experiment with that. I haven't yet, but see how it works in terms of sweetness and overall taste as well. Okay? Yes?
My husband did like a green smoothie every day for 2-3 years, then he had terrible, terrible kidney stones.
Okay.
So now he doesn't want to do the spinach.
Right.
I don't know if that was
Kidney stones in smoothing for 2 or 3 years, right?
right.
So there are some vegetables that have what's considered to be a high content of oxalic acid. And if that's you want to look at not just smoothies or juicing, but your overall quality of your diet. And if you know in advance that someone is more susceptible to kidney stones, then they don't want to overdo those high oxalic acid content vegetables.
So which vegetables would be a good replacement in their smoothie?
Well, when you get all those green leafies, those are fairly high in oxalic acid: spinach, kale, beet greens, and so on. If you did something like cucumbers, it's not the same, but I'd have to look at a list and look at the content of that. So that would require a little bit more investigation. Okay. Enjoy your lunch, ladies, and I'll answer a couple individual questions. You could probably turn off the mic right now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck and enjoy.